everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Hennessy, and I created this channel to talk through all things investing in Dominican Republic, working from home, and traveling. So if you've watched some of my videos, you know that I started to invest in Dominican Republic a few years ago. I currently have a house and an apartment which I manage myself through platforms like Airbnb and Verbo, and I also have a plot of land. Of course, in this, five or 6 years that I've been investing in Dominican Republic, I'm not going to say that hasn't come with a lot of challenges. So in today's video, I'm going to talk through 5 mistakes you should avoid. Okay, you should avoid if you're thinking about investing in Dominican Republic. So the first one that I want to talk about is market research. Now, I do have a video where I talk about what tools we can utilize to do that market research. But a lot of times people fall in love with the idea of investing in Dominican Republic, and it's fine. I think I've talked about the difference on investing for yourself, because that's a place you may want to retire in, or you just want to have a vacation home, and that's fine, versus a place that you are looking to invest because you want to do something like short-term rental. Now, that looks completely different for either one. So if your idea is to invest in Dominican Republic because you want to do short-term rental, then you have to do your market research. And a lot of people skip this over again because they fall in love with the idea of investing. They heard of a friend that's doing it. Someone else is like making money, so they want to make money too. They want to get in the pie. But the thing is that every location is different. Nightly rates are different. Other people's financial situations are different. And those are all things you have to take into account, because I've said this plenty of times before, but you will not get rich doing Airbnb in Dominican Republic. Like, Airbnb in Dominican Republic is like a nice way to maybe make some extra money, have a flowing income if that's what you want, but you are not about to get rich off of investing and doing Airbnb in Dominican Republic. So I need people to do their market research to see if the property that you're buying can cover its own expenses. Like, maybe it's that dual idea of, maybe I'll buy a property now, and if it pays for itself, then later on that property's all mine and I can live in it when I get older, whatever the case is. But you have to do that market research because every place is different, everything looks different. So that's the first mistake I will tell you to please avoid. Avoid it, okay? Avoid not doing it. You have to sit there. You have to look up locations, properties, amenities. What are the nightly rates? What are the demand in that area? You have to do that type of research before you go and invest in a property. A second mistake I would tell you to avoid is not looking into legal and taxes. Of course, there aren't any like taxes you have to pay. That there's no laws that where you have to like pay taxes back, but maybe there's a tax incentive when you're purchasing a property, and not every property is going to qualify for that tax incentive. So you want to make sure that you get a good lawyer that's going to help you navigate what those legal and tax implications are when you're purchasing a property in Dominican Republic. So whether that is like making sure that a title is clear if you're buying a property that is already like constructed, it has had multiple owners, you want to make sure your title is clear. Best way is, obviously, you're not gonna go up in what are like those government buildings to find out, but if you get a lawyer, that's part of his job, that's something you can like pay for. So I would definitely say make sure that you understand what are the legal and tax implications of purchasing a property in Dominican Republic. A third mistake I would tell you to avoid is ignoring infrastructure and location factors. And what this, I'm going to give you a prime example. I'm a prime example of this. Not that I ignored it, But at first, I was like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And what I mean by that is you purchase a property without thinking on what are the implications of someone that's coming elsewhere to enjoy that property. Whether it's like getting there, is it easy to get there? Is there water or power outage? And that's the prime example that I have, right? Because when I got the house from my mom, I did buy the battery generator, and I thought that was enough. I did think, and it went like that for a while. It went like that for a whole year with my battery generator. And although the battery generator is really good, right? Like, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you get a battery generator. It usually powers electricity that comes from 110 voltage. So meaning your lights, right? Your light fixtures, your fan, things like that. But guess what? That doesn't power ACs, right? That doesn't power the fridge. There's other things it does not power. So what happens, right? You're renting a house, right? That's not maybe like me, right? Because I'm using myself as a prime example. My house is not in a touristic area. It's in a very much local area. There is power outages, right? That I have to account for. And at first, obviously, I went months like doing it like that, and I was like, it will be fine. Like I've stayed there. It's not that bad. But you imagine, like, you're coming on vacation, you're paying for something, you have like a certain type of expectation, and next thing you know, in La Romana, there's EDS, which is the electrical company. And next thing you know, there's no power for 10 hours. And yeah, the light switch turns off, but then it's super hot. You can't use the AC. That is super uncomfortable. That's such an uncomfortable conversation to have with guests. And what happened was that I want to say actually almost a year into me doing Airbnb with the house, I purchased like one of those big generators. So in the house now, the power goes out, and obviously I have a solution, but that generator is expensive. Okay, so those are things you have to take into consideration when you're purchasing property. And it's like, don't ignore that infrastructure and location. Of course, in a lot of areas, especially touristic areas like Punta Cana, that may not be the case because it's 24/7 electricity with SIPIN or whatever the electrical company is in the area. But one thing you do also have to take into consideration is pricing of that, right? Like, it tends to be really expensive to have 24/7 electricity in the Dominican Republic. So number 3 is don't ignore infrastructure and location factors, especially for those areas that aren't as touristic like Punta Cana. A 4th mistake I would tell you to avoid is not sitting down and considering your property management needs. And what do I mean by that, right? Like, as you guys know, I manage my own Airbnb. And I have a cleaning person and I have a person that does maintenance. I also have like a Rolodex or contacts of people that just know how to do other things, because you never know. So that's the thing, right? Like, you never know what could happen. So you ignoring what type of maintenance or what type of person you may need to do to do certain things is not going to be okay. Because at the end of the day, when you're renting to someone that's there on vacation and a problem comes up, they want to resolve right away, right? So you have to make sure that you have the time to manage that you have right communication, that you're having clear instructions in terms of like check-in, that you have someone that does cleaning, like that you have someone that does the maintenance, that you have people that will go up and do whatever works needs to be done. That takes a lot of property management, and you need to be able to understand that process of it and not just think like, oh, I bought in a new construction, so this is going to be easy. People are just going to like come and whatever that looks, I'll send them the right information. No, you have to understand what does it take to manage that property from the ins and outs of everything. So don't skip over that part. Make sure you're writing that down. And lastly, the 5th mistake that I would tell you to avoid. And this even applies for me because it took me a minute, and it's navigating cultural differences. And what do I mean by that? I'm Dominican, right? You would think, we're here, right? We're all here. One thing I hate about like doing work in DR is how slow people are. And what I mean by that is how slow, meaning how much they take their time to do something, right? Like you will get someone to, let's say you had an issue and you'll call up a technician and you guys will say, hey, we will meet on this day, this Tuesday at 9 a.m. for that technician to be there. That technician will then hit you up at 9 and say, hey, I'm running late. I'll be there in an hour. 10 comes around. He's not there. 11 comes around. He's not there. 12 comes around. He's not there. What I mean by that, people in DR take work very lightly. I always say, like, I don't know how people complain about poverty, but they're very lax about work and about being someplace on time and about, making sure that they're completing the work. So make sure you're adapting to that. Like if you need something and you want it done on Tuesday, give yourself a buffer, right? Like contact that person like maybe the Wednesday before and like try to fit them in before you actually need them. Because again, people are just so lax about it. Especially, oh my God, do not get me started on trying to get work done around December because you will not get anything done, okay? People, like, I feel like if you go to DR expecting people to work for the month of December, you will be hit with like rude awakening because in December, everyone is going to not show up. Everyone is going to tell you, yeah, I'll be there, and then they don't. Everyone will just like, they're not about it. So again, island life, right? Like we all hear it. Island life is taking it nice and easy. Even as a Dominican, like I'm born and raised in New York, where it's always a movement. It's always a fast life. That's not the case when you're in DR, okay? And I've had to learn that like I used to get so mad at people, and I had to learn to just like relax, let it go. It'll get done. Like that's the thing. It always gets done. It's just not getting done when I want it to get done. So those are the 5 mistakes I will tell you to avoid or to think about if you are thinking about investing in Dominican Republic. Now, I hope this video was useful. If it was, please subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what are your thoughts on it. Of course, I'm always eager to have a good conversation about investing in Dominican Republic. But I hope you found this video very useful. See you next time.